Have you ever heard of rappers beefing with their own label mates? It's happened on at least a few occasions, and one of the best examples of that is the infamous Roc-a-Fella beef, in particular Jay-Z and Cam'ron. They weren't simply label mates, however, as Jay-Z is one of the co-founders of the label as well. Regarding this beef, it is important to know how Roc-a-Fella was started, so we're going to go back to the mid-90s real quick. After getting turned down by other record labels, Sean Carter, Damon Dash, and Kareem Burke, aka Jay-Z, Dame Dash, and Biggs, founded Roc-a-Fella Records to release Jay's music. In 1996, they released his debut album, Reasonable Doubt. Then in 1997, sold 50% of the label to Def Jam and was now distributed and marketed by them as well. They then went on to release In My Lifetime Volume 1, Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, and Volume 3, Life and Times of S. Carter in 97, 98, and 99 respectively, and started signing artists like Jay-Z's protege, Memphis Bleek, and others to the label. Cam'ron in the 90s had met Biggie through his friend Mace, and then met Lance Rivera aka Un through Biggie and signed to his label Entertainment and released his first two albums, Confessions of Fire and SDE, in 98 and 2000 respectively. Then in 2001, through fellow Harlem resident Dame Dash, Cam signed to Roc-a-Fella and signed his group The Diplomats aka Dipset to the label as well and released his third album Come Home With Me in May 2002. On that album is the song Welcome to New York, which features Jay-Z and Juelz Santana. It's probably safe to say that things were still cool between the two at this point, but that would quickly change. Around this time, Philadelphia rapper Petey Crack, who wound up joining the group State Property, had recorded the single One for Petey, which was featured on the Paid in Full soundtrack released in October 2002. The song features Freeway, Young Chris from the Young Guns, and Beanie Siegel. According to Cam'ron, however, he knew Petey before he was officially signed to State Property and that he and Juelz both originally recorded for the song, but Dame felt that it should be Philly rappers on the song instead of Harlem rappers, as apparently Roc-a-Fella was a bit divided in that way.
Nobody's fucking with Petey Crack. State Property, nobody. Petey Crack, I was gonna fuck with Speedy Crack. Right. He had the song. One for Petey Crack. Yeah. That was his song by itself. I put me and Juelz on it. Take it to Dame, I'm like, I'm about to fuck with him. He's like, he from Philly, you should fuck with State Property. I'm like, why everything gotta be so Philly this, Harlem this?
He also stated that Petey told him that when they played the song for Jay, Jay said to delete Cam'ron's verse. That version with Cam and Juelz wound up being released on a mixtape by Dipset.
This is what Petey Crack said. He's like, because he wanted to give me a copy, but I already had a copy. Right. And I put it on my mixtape.
In September 2002, Dame made an announcement that Cam was going to be the vice president of Roc-a-Fella, without consulting Jay-Z about the decision, however, which would further the tension between them. A while after the single Oh Boy from Come Home With Me was released, Jay-Z recorded a verse for a remix, but Cam'ron, in response to Jay deleting his verse for One for Petey, deleted Jay's verse for the Oh Boy remix, which once again added more fuel to the fire.
To bring it to Oh Boy.
Right. So,
bam.
You know, Jay one day was like, yo, I did a little something for you in the studio. I was coming in the studio, he was walking out. So I'm like, then he had something to Oh Boy. And I was like,
this is Oh Boy's already #1?
Yeah, it's popping.
This is popping.
Let's be clear.
Yeah, this is popping Oh Boy. The rough draft for Oh Boy. No, this is when Oh Boy's already lit.
Right.
You on tour.
Right. So I listened to it and I was like, erase that shit.
Also, there were other incidents like the seemingly awkward appearance that Cam and Jay had on 106 in Park. Reportedly, Cam'ron was supposed to be interviewed, but Jay-Z made an appearance without Cam being told. On top of that, there wasn't just tension between the two. At this time, Jay was also beefing with Nas, as on Jay's Blueprint 2 album released in November 2002, he dissed Nas on the title track. And Nas also mentioned Jay on his God's Son album released in December on the track Last Real Nigga Alive. Cam'ron was embroiled in a beef with Nas as well, because in an interview with Power 105.1 while Nas was dissing rival radio station Hot 97.1, Nas took aim at others, including Cameron, and says that his album was whack, which resulted in Cam dissing him back.
You know what I'm saying? Let's get real and be creative. I buy these people albums, you know what I'm saying? And they ain't talking about nothing from Cam to everybody. I mean, I like Cam and everything. He's a good lyricist, but the album's whack, man.
According to various sources, Jay-Z dissed Nas on that old boy verse that Cam deleted. So at this time, it would probably have been in the best interest of Roc-a-Fella artists to show some level of solidarity, but it seems that wasn't really the case. Speaking of Nas, according to Cameron from an appearance he made on the Drink Champs podcast, one of the reasons Jay had an issue with him is because he was cool with DJ K-Slay, who is the one who premiered Ether, the diss track that Nas aimed at Jay-Z and Roc-a-Fella Records, which was included on Nas's 5th album, Stillmatic, released in December 2001.
First thing that happened, I brought K-Slay up there. And I guess I didn't know he was mad at K-Slay because K-Slay must have played Ether at the time, and because, you know, we using K-Slay to host our mixtape, so K came up there, boom. Jay wasn't there, but as I'm leaving, Jay is in the lobby, a baseline. So I walk K to the elevator, and I guess they said, K and Jay-Z said, what's up, whatever. So I walk back in, he said, yo, you gotta be careful who you bringing around here. We might have just slapped the shit out of K-Slay. And I'm like, wait, what's going on, man?
The Jay-Z and Nas beef is another one that I've covered on the channel before, so check that out after this for the details. In 2003, Jay-Z released the Black Album, which was marketed as his retirement album. Dipset released their debut album, Diplomatic Immunity, and then in 2004, Cameron released his 4th album, Purple Haze, which was also released on Roc-a-Fella. In 2005, the infamous Roc-a-Fella split occurred, with the other half of the label being sold to Def Jam and Jay-Z being made the president of Def Jam. Dame and Biggs wound up starting their own label, Dame Dash Music Group, and the Roc-a-Fella artists then picked where they would like to go. Cameron and Dipset wound up leaving Roc-a-Fella and signing to Asylum Records. On October 23, 2005, Cameron was shot while driving his car in Washington, D.C., and he claims that the shooter made the Roc-a-Fella diamond hand gesture before the shots went off. Then in January 2006, Dipset had a press conference where Cam spoke about the shooting in DC and other things like his plans for Dipset and beef with Jay-Z and the diss track that had surfaced aimed at Jay. Some months later, in May 2006, Cam released his 5th album, Killer Season, which set off the dissing on wax that occurred between the two. On the album is the track You Gotta Love It, featuring Max B. On the intro of the track, Cam expresses exactly why he's dissing Jay in typical Cam fashion. That is, with a sense of humor. He gives 5 reasons why he's dissing Jay, 3 of them being related to Dame. The 4th being that the person that shot him in DC made the rock hand symbol before shooting him, and the 5th reason being because Jay-Z apparently was seen wearing jeans with sandals on, which makes him ineligible to be the king of New York. One of the funniest things in the song, however, is the fact that Cam gets Jay's age incorrect on the song 3 different times. Once again, probably for humorous effect. He goes from calling him 37 to 42 to 40 throughout the song. According to the birthday given online for Jay being born in December 1969 and the album being released in May 2006, Jay would be 36 years old at the time. He starts the first verse off with the lines, "You ain't the only one with big wallets, got it, my shit's brolic, dot it, but your publishing should go to Miss Wallace. Honest, stealing big shit, he made 2 albums, you wildin'," which is a shot at Jay for all the times Jay has used lines from Biggie. Then towards the end of the first verse, he has the line, "I know he 40 years old, I don't respect my elders," which once again is a reference to Jay's age. Jay wasn't that much older than Cam, however, as at this point, like I said, Jay was likely 36 and Cam was 30. On the second verse, Cam takes aim at Jay's appearance, similar to how Nas did on Ether. In the beginning of the verse, Cam has the lines, "Who can fuck with me? No mammal, but with tote handles at your open-toe sandals and you look like Joe Camel," Joe Camel was the mascot for the cigarette brand Camel. He follows it up with lines referencing how he got out of his deal with Roc-a-Fella. Off of Roc-a-Fella, right? No contact. But bust this fly joint to put inside the contract. I left the label, right? Lot of cats wonder how. Every time I diss that label, I get fined 100 thou. Just for telling y'all, I get fined 100 thou. Them cats are ill. 5 times $500,000. So basically, he's not allowed to speak negatively on The Roc as part of his release from contract. But he's dissing Jay in this song, who was one of the co-founders. So I guess he felt it was worth taking the risk. He then goes on to talk about Jay's then girlfriend Beyonce with the lines, "Beyonce, fiance, check my second LP, I might bring it back. That's your girl, that's your world, had the thing fucking singing about slinging crack." That's a reference to the song Do It Again, featuring Destiny's Child and Jim Jones, from Cam's second album, SDE. Then Cam follows it up mentioning the 1999 stabbing of Lance Rivera with the lines, "It ain't my fault I'm raw, I'm sorry B, but I want a war," and he stabbed over Charlie Baltimore. That is Cam claiming that it was over Charlie Baltimore rather than the leaking of the Volume 3 album, which was the common belief. He then goes off towards the end of the song saying things like how ugly Jay-Z is. On the original version of the song, however, he goes a bit further, as after that he mentions the vocals from that song mentioned earlier featuring Destiny's Child, and then plays the part in which the group sang. This is the most well-known track from their beef, and Jay did respond, which I'll get to shortly. Cameron dissed Jay-Z on a remix to Atlanta rapper Young Jock's debut single It's Going Down from his debut album Young Jock City. Cam has the lines, "Jigga what, jigga who, he a motherfucking jigaboo. Play a hater, I don't play them games. You got beef with killer, nigga say my name. You shy, he snorting raw or they reported wrong." Those lines are a reference to Jay's single Jigga What, Jigga Who, and the remix to the song I Don't Wanna Be Alone by the group Shy, which features verses by Jay-Z. He then has the line, "I got homes where you hide, I hustle where you live," which is yet another Jay-Z line, that being from the song Ride or Die from the Volume 3 album. Cam then goes on to mention rappers Young Jeezy and Rick Ross with the lines, "He only go to Marcy on Christmas Day, you not Santa, fuck clothes from Bergdorf, before you burk off, why don't you drop work off, or sign a rapper from the borough, get off Jeezy dick and Rick Ross shit, but he a jerk off." At this time, Jeezy had released his third album, Let's Get It, Thug Motivation 101, on Def Jam, which featured the hit single Go Crazy, which features Jay-Z. And Rick Ross was also on Def Jam, and Jay-Z was featured on the remix to his hit single Hustlin' from his album Port of Miami, released in August 2006. Speaking of the Hustlin' remix, Jay-Z dissed Cameron on that song, and if you look at the lines on Jay's verse on that song compared to Cam's verse on It's Going Down, it would appear that Cam's verse was in response to Jay's. For example, Jay starts his verse with the lines, "Hold up, who you haters think you talking to? I'm the fucking boss, white on white, G4, hater get lost, I'm in the air, I don't hear niggas corny raps." As on Cam's verse, he has the lines, "Only G4 I'm on is a laptop, got me over depressed, nigga Hove is a mess, it's G5 minimum or Global Express," among other lines that appear to be direct responses. Also on that verse, Jay has the lines, "Yeah, I balls a lot, now I owns the team, Ricky Ross, Young Jeezy, we owns the scene," which appears to be the line that prompted Cam's line I mentioned a minute ago. Then in November 2006, Jay-Z released his comeback album Kingdom Come. On the track Dig a Hole, Jay disses Cam once again, among others. On the first verse, Jay has the lines, "Niggas like Hove, why don't you get an old boy? Why kill a puppet and leave Geppetto alive? Why not wait to catch them all together?" Considering how Old Boy sounds similar to Oh Boy, the hit single by Cameron, this would appear to be a shot at Cam. Also, these lines allude to Dame being the one pulling the strings behind Jay getting dissed by Cam. It makes plenty of sense when you consider that on You Gotta Love It, Cam even stated that he's doing it because Jay stole the label from Dame. Then in the third verse, Jay has the lines, "You selling in low twos, only time you went plat, my chain was on your neck, that's an actual fact. So I'm praying that it spills outside of the booth. That's when y'all niggas outside of y'all truth, outside of your league, that's not what you do, niggas throwing rock signs outside of your coop." These lines are yet again a shot at Cam, talking about how his album sales have dropped since he left Roc-a-Fella, and also mentioning the shooting that happened in DC where Cam was shot. Cameron wasn't the only one involved in the beef, however. In November, Jim Jones released his third album, Hustlers POME, Product of My Environment, and on that album is the hit single We Fly High, which was released earlier in October. Jay-Z rapped over the beat himself and on it dissed Jim Jones. That song was a response to Jim Jones dissing him on the track Kingdom Done, which was named after Jay's sixth album, Kingdom Come. On the track, Dame Dash speaks on the intro and outro, and Jim disses Jay. This would also once again explain why Jay took shots at Cam and Dame on the Dig a Hole track from the album that I mentioned a minute ago. Later on, Cameron released a track that you can see online with different titles like Swagger Jacker, or another one being I'm Not a Writer, I'm a Biter, which was a bit unorthodox of a diss track, as really the song was a compilation of lines that Biggie rapped, then playing Jay's version of the lines, hence the Swagger Jacker title, and is Cam calling Jay-Z a biter once again. The tension between the group and Jay went back and forth for a while. Then in November 2010, Ye released his fifth album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Cam and Jim did a freestyle to one of the songs from the album, that being Runaway. On the freestyle, Cam takes a shot at Ye and Jay with the lines, "And Kanye, you a sucker nigga. This Dame, so my attitude is fuck a nigga. Sucking jigger, how you gonna live with that? Took your beat, now come get it back." Ye has been known, especially back then, for looking up to Jay, like for example the song Big Brother from his third album, Graduation. So Cam is once again defending Dame. Ye is one of those people that pretty much sided with Jay during the split. Then in September 2013, Drake released his third album, Nothing Was the Same. On that album is the song Pound Cake / Paris Morton 2. On the Pound Cake portion, Jay-Z is featured. On his second verse, he has the lines, "I've done made more millionaires than the lotto did. Dame made millions, Biggs made millions, Ye made millions, Just made millions, Lior made millions, Cam made millions, Bean to tell you if he wasn't in his feelings." Basically taking credit for making them all loads of money. Cam responded to the line about him on the song Come and Talk to Me from his mixtape Ghetto Heaven Volume 1. The song uses the beat from the song of the same name by Jodeci. He starts the first verse with the lines, "She said Jay made you a millionaire and looked me in the eyes, said cake, 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 got that from the pies. We made each other millions, that was my reply, but had a mill before I met him, baby that ain't no lie. See, he named some Harlem cats and the homie from the Shy, but my thing, he ain't named nobody from the sty, and I do it like Bed-Stuy, do or die." So yeah, basically Cam saying he had plenty of money before he got down with Roc-a-Fella. Fast forward to January 2015 and Dipset put out a freestyle with New York DJ Funkmaster Flex, on which they rapped using the beat from the song Victory by Biggie. On Cam's verse, he makes a reference to Beyonce, who by this point was Jay's wife, with the line, "Having money, that don't make you a real one. You stepped on the court, you gonna play my game. Just take shorty advice and say my name." Say My Name is the 1999 hit single by the group Destiny's Child, which once again makes as a reference to Beyonce like he did on You Gotta Love It. So yeah, it seems like even a decade after their feud started, they still had some tension. The beef between these two was officially squashed in the public when in April 2019, Jay-Z held his second B-Sides concert in New York City, and he had Cameron come on stage and they performed the song Welcome to New York from Cameron's album Come Home With Me.
The B-side concert. Shout out to OG Warren. Warren called me up. Shout out to Jim Jones too. Jim the one when he was signed to Roc Nation. I don't know if he still is, saying Jay wants you to come out at the concert. So I'm like, bet, man, this is years later. I ain't got no problem with that. Me and Jay spoke on the phone. You know, he said he respected me, told him how much I respected him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I came out and I did the show. It was a marvelous show because nobody even knew that me and him was cool.
Later on in interviews, Cam would state that he received a weird text message from Jay that night after the concert.
He's like, yeah, man, see how much shit we could do when niggas start acting like it's fake beef out here? That shit slows shit down. And I'm like, what is, I didn't know how to take that. Like, I didn't know what he meant when he texted that. Like, see this what happened when niggas start acting like it's fake beef. And I'm like, I just replied, well, no matter what, you, Dame Biggs, gave me opportunity, feed my family legally, so I have no problem with it. But inside, I'm like, why would you even text that?
The beef was squashed between the two, but in 2024, Cam'ron has made mention of Jay-Z as part of his new career as a talk show host. In June 2024, Antonio Brown took issue with Jay-Z performing at Tom Brady's Hall of Fame induction ceremony, but not performing at any hip-hop's 50th anniversary shows. Cam'ron chimed in on his show, making a comparison between Nas and Jay-Z, saying that Nas loves hip-hop and Jay-Z loves money more than hip-hop, essentially.
I'm not saying he's not a hip-hop historian. He doesn't know about hip-hop. Listen, he had won a Writers Guild Award or some type of award, and he named probably every rapper from 1978 to 2014 or 15, whenever he won the award, like every rapper in between that time. I believe that Jay-Z, to me, my personal opinion, is not in love with hip-hop. I think he likes hip-hop a lot. I think he likes money more and opportunities to take his brand to the next level. And some of the stuff that may have been going on at Hip Hop 50 may have not been up his alley.
Then a few months later in September, Cam'ron chimed in on the situation of Kendrick Lamar getting picked to perform at the Super Bowl being hosted in New Orleans, the home of Lil Wayne, who had wanted to be picked himself, saying that Lil Wayne didn't get picked because of Jay-Z, who has been involved in organizing the Super Bowl.
I love to pop up. I think he's one of the top artists of this generation, period. Hate the selection. It's in New Orleans. You don't get Lil Wayne. That's what we doing?
Yeah.
Listen, you don't get Lil Wayne in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Not just Hot Boys, Cash Money. All the songs Lil Wayne's done, whether it's Blink 182, there's no reason why Lil Wayne should not be performing the Super Bowl. There's one person who's stopping this. I know, it's not really a secret. Lil Wayne had a problem with somebody before who's kind of part of the organization running it. This is payback. Who's that? Who's Lil Wayne artist? Drake.
This is a common thing that has been said online, as the theory is that Jay blocked Wayne from being in it because they used to have issues with one another, and also Kendrick Lamar's beef of Drake, as Drake is well known for his affiliation with Lil Wayne and being signed to Young Money. On top of that, there's Nicki Minaj's beef with Megan Thee Stallion, who is known for being signed to Roc Nation for management. Either way, the beef between Cam and Jay has been squashed, but not without questions. Like, did the person who shot Cam really have some relationship with Roc-a-Fella? Did Cam'ron really throw shots at Jay purely for publicity like some people have claimed? What do you think about the beef between these two? My opinion on this beef is that Cam'ron has one of my favorite diss tracks to Jay with You Gotta Love It. If it's true about Dame not consulting Jay about wanting to make Cam the vice president of the label, that isn't cool, so I understand Jay having an issue with that. Roc-a-Fella as a label seemed pretty divided. They had people from Brooklyn, Harlem, and Philadelphia coming together for business and music. The label as a whole had a lot of success, but feuds like this caused a lot of friction and helped divide the New York rap scene as a whole. Just like Jay was beefing with Nas, Prodigy, and even Joe Budden, it seems like he's not the type that is okay with sharing the spotlight. Not to mention, selling the label to Def Jam once again took business out of the hands of us and into the hands of outsiders of the culture, as Dane would probably say.
What exactly is a culture vulture, and why is Lior one?
Clear my throat on that one. Pause. A culture vulture is someone that exploits the culture, that he's not a part of, doesn't benefit the culture, and takes care of his culture, and has no respect for the culture he's exploiting. And that's exactly why Lior is one, because he's been making money off of our culture. He is not part of it, and He's been exploiting it, never helping, teaching, or anything, doing what's in the best interest of his pocket over the culture. And to add insult to injury, he is not accepted in his own culture. He cannot get no money in his own culture. So he comes to ours, acts like a big cat, pretends we need him when we don't. And then if someone even asks him a question, he acts entitled.
They seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup, and
it's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
But I'm saying that's hypocritical, though. You're saying the
it's opportunistic.
Yeah.
I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's Dame Dash? You brought him up. I don't even know him.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
If you want to hear about some other rap beefs Jay-Z or Cameron were involved in, then head over to the playlist in the description, which has all those and more. Like always, remember to click the subscribe button to subscribe to the channel, click the thumbs up button to like the video, and check out the links in the description below to follow on other platforms and become a channel member or patron to support the channel further and unlock certain perks.